Hello and welcome to Spilling the Green Beans, episode 34, my live gardening show where I share with you my green secrets to inspire you to start growing your own vegetables. I'm your host, Emily, creator of Easy Urban Gardening, the system for growing your own vegetables on a balcony or terrace in town. Thank you for spending time with me today when I talk about beans. But okay, sorry, little hiccup. Today I am talking about beans. But before we dive into cooking with beans, did you know I also have a Facebook group where you can ask me questions, you can share your experiences, and get all sorts of tips, tricks, and recipes. So why not join us in the Facebook group, Our Garden Party? It's free and it's fun. It would be really cool to meet you there. But for now, back to the garden and our beans. Beans are a brilliant vegetable to grow yourself, but only have a relatively short season. That, of course, doesn't mean you shouldn't grow them, but beans and other pulses, for that matter, are a very important diet component, also over winter. So today I want to talk. Today I won't talk so much about growing beans as about beans and how to use them in different ways. That beans are a healthy, hearty, and nutritional food source is known to mankind already for centuries. I mean, wild broad beans, also called fava beans, are known to be the first cultivated beans in Thailand since the 7th millennium before Christ. And it's even known that before that, they were collected from the wild in the area of Thailand, India, Afghanistan, that whole region. But it wasn't until the second millennium before BC that cultivated and therefore also a little bit larger broad beans appeared in the Aegean, in the Iberia, and Transalpine Europe. The oldest known domesticated beans in the Americas were found at an archaeological site in Peru, and dated to around the second millennium BC. But based on genetic research, we know it originated in Mesoamerica. So that's more like the wider Mexican Middle America area. Most of Europe's modern beans come again from the Americas and were brought to Europe first by Columbus, and after that, of course, the trade that came to be. Um, Beans have always been and still are a very important protein source, and they're used in cuisines all over the world. I don't think there is any region where you can find a cuisine with not at least some beans or pulses in their dishes. But traditionally, and now I'm looking back to the Americas, traditionally, they are often accompanied by maize and squash because those three could, in the old days, be easily grown in one field. They are kind of like the ideal companion plants. The maize would be like the center, and it would be planted in a group, and then the beans would be planted around each maize, around each maize, a few beans. And in that way, the maize would function as the trellis for the beans. And then the squash would be in between the groups of maize slash beans. And that would protect the soil from drying out too much, because we all know that, I mean, pumpkin leaves or squash leaves are like big. And they would also protect against many invaders like raccoons and deer, because they don't like the roughness, actually, of the squash leaves. And if you've ever been growing zucchini in your garden, you know what I mean. It's the same kind of leaf. Of course, dried beans, on the contrary, are and have been always available all year round, and therefore, if you look in overall, beans are known to be combined with almost everything you can think of. Some of my favorite dishes with beans are an aubergine flageolet stew, a lentil salad with marinated salmon, green bean salad, or, and now I'm going to say something you might think weird, but it's a dish which in Dutch is called blote billetjes in het gras. And that would translate as bare bums in the grass. Yes, you heard that right. But before I tell you exactly what that dish is all about, let me first tell you a little bit more about the other dishes. Aubergines and flageolet stew is a very kind of like heartwarming dish with I put in lots of Moroccan, Northern African spices combined with tomato and raisins. And then depending on what else is kind of like in season, you can add, I don't know, pearl onions, like the mini round spring onions. You can add mushrooms, you can add courgette, or of course you can add squash. And you can replace the flageolets with almost any other kind of bean. So think kidney beans, black beans, chickpeas, lentils, white beans, whatever you like best. And it's simmered, so like a real stew. So all the spices and all the flavors combine amazingly. And then you can serve it with rice, with couscous, with millets, with and barley. You can add a salad to it, depending on the time of year. Really, really, really nice dish. Top it up with some creme fraiche or sour cream. Delicious. Then my lentil salad with marinated salmon. I do prefer to make it from either the French green lentils, the Puy lentils, or the black beluga lentils. I think they're like most delicate in taste. And to give it, I often hear people tell me, yeah, lentils, they're kind of like dull. I don't really like them. Well, of course, it is kind of dull. Most pulses are kind of dull. So you have to spice them up a little bit. And with lentils, and if you make a salad kind of like of it, what I really like to do is I puree some sun-dried tomatoes and I add that to my vinaigrette. So take a handful of sun-dried tomatoes in your kitchen machine or with the hand mixer and make it like a paste, like almost. And then, add a little bit more olive oil to make it like a fluid puree. And if you add that to the vinaigrette, and then of course you can add some capers, you can freshly chopped onion, some herbs. In this case, I would think a little bit Italian herbs or Provence, southern France. So oregano, maybe majoran, lavender, sage, thymian. Just mix and pick a mix, kind of like your herbs. Maybe squeeze in a little bit of lemon juice and make it like to your taste. But make sure that you have a bit more stronger flavors. And then, of course, instead of marinating fresh salmon, which is something you have to prepare because you have to do it at least overnight, you can always use a good smoked salmon. That's also really goes really, really well with the lentil salad. Then a mixed bean or green bean salad is one of our top favorites during summer when we have our own fresh green beans. So instead of boiling the green beans, just like that. First of all, I blanch them. And this can be green French beans or runner beans. You just cut them in either bite-sized chunks or like 1 centimeter wide strips. And then you throw them into boiling water for maybe 1 to 2 minutes. You drain and rinse them with cold water until cooled down to prevent them from getting too done. They really need that crispy bite as if they are almost uncooked. Then you make a basic vinaigrette. You add a finely chopped onion. Of course, you season with salt and pepper and whatever you like. And then you add a spoon of some creaminess. Can be creme fraiche, sour cream, fresh cheese, or mayonnaise, whatever you prefer. And then you add the cold beans. And then you mix it like it is a salad. And I think it's the totally delicious side dish to whatever you grill on the barbecue. Outside of the season of the fresh green beans, you can do this, of course, with canned beans. No problem at all. So mix flageolets with kidney beans, maybe white beans or black beans, whatever kind of like color palette is tasty to the eye for you. If it's still there, you can of course also add fresh green beans. Just remember, when you use whatever pulses or beans or whatever from tin, you have to rinse them under cold water because the kind of like sticky, slightly salty water that is in the tins is not so nice when you eat them uncooked or unheated. I mean, they're cooked already, of course, but if you don't heat them up again, I would always rinse them. Okay, now finally, the bear bumps in the grass. I think you never imagined me saying that on a live video, but this is a traditional dish from the Dutch and Belgium area, so kind of like from the lower countries in Europe. And it's super easy to make, and it's always fun, especially if you tell guests the name of the dish, of course. That's hilarious. But all you need are runner beans, a tin of white beans, oil or butter, whatever you like, and some savory, the herb savory. You cut the runner beans in thin strips, so say half a centimeter, something like that. And you rinse the beans under running cold water, as I mentioned before. Then you heat some oil or butter in a frying pan, and you add both types of beans. You stir gently for, say, 4 minutes, I think. And then you season with salt, pepper, and the savory to taste. And that's actually it. But traditionally, this is served with mashed potato or even mixed into mashed potato. Then the whole idea of the bumps in the grass goes lost a little bit. But normally it's served with mashed potatoes and either smoked sausage, pork belly, or bacon. And now you just imagine how those white beans mixed with the green ones, the green strips, look like. Well, exactly. They look like bear bumps in the grass. So let me know if you ever cook this dish and you tell your guests what it's called. Let me know their reaction. Because my experience, it's always hilarious. Everybody's like, oh my gosh. But so if you do it, let me know. Of course, I could go on and on and on about what to cook with beans, but this is it for today. But might you have, or if you have any questions about how to cook your favorite beans, maybe slightly different, come over and join me on Facebook. I have this really cool community where we meet to share our experiences, ask questions, and get tips and recipes. So if you have a question about cooking something, that's the place to be. It's not only for growing your own vegetables. It's my free Facebook group, and it's called Our Garden Party. And you're warmly invited to join the party. I can't wait to meet you there. For now, I thank you for spending time with me in the garden and look forward to seeing you again next time when we talk about how to set up or enlarge your garden, even though it is autumn now. Did you enjoy this episode of Spilling the Green Beans? Then please share, subscribe, and give a review so more people can enjoy the show. Or if you're watching this inside the Facebook group. Invite your friends to join the group. I see you in next episode. Bye.